40 for Rateable Crest Titans.
Welcome to the SeaconUK Rally Show. Coming up this month, we take a look at the latest Forest Rally action from Rally North Wales and the Malcolm Wilson Rally, as well as catching up with the Circuit Rally Championship, starting with a trip to Anglesey for the Lee Holland Memorial Stages. The Lee Holland Stages is a long-standing round of the Circuit Rally Championship and attracts the top names, as well as those just competing for event glory. And it would be Rob Hughes and Sean Cunniff who lead the way after the opening stages of the rally. Second place at this stage would belong to Michael Igoe and Will Atkins. The lead at this stage was 26 seconds back to the GT driver. The Fiesta pair not able to claw back anything just yet, but they were holding their own in that second place. A spin on the opening stage would cost John Griffiths and Emma Morrison dearly. Any time lost on a rally like this is a bit of a disaster this early on. A warning light showing up after that and causing a bit of a distraction and making things worse. But apart from that, things were going fairly well, you could say. They end the morning with third place. Ollie O'Donovan and Ashley Morris were once again sideways around these stages, as you'd expect from a rallycross star, and they were surely enjoying themselves. It might not always be the fastest way, but it was fast enough and entertaining at the same time, the pair lying in fourth place with that display. For Kyron Hankin and James Swallow, it will be fifth, only 2 seconds behind O'Donovan at this stage, which was pretty good going. Taking a look at the classes, it would be the lead in Class A for Owen Hughes and Chris Phillips. A good lead in the class as well over the similar Micra of Tom Connolly and Owen Thomas. Sean Jones and Gethin Williams lead Class B at this stage. It was around a 50-second advantage at this stage as well, as they lie in 12th place overall. Their closest class rivals, Louis Baines and Chris Coombs in the Peugeot 106. It would be Darian Power leading the way, as we so often see on these circuit events in Class C, with Jason and Lee Wilson. Even with the conditions that they started the day with, they lie inside our overall top 10, as well as in 8th place. Their closest class fight coming from Gareth Hughes and Ivan Devine in the Escort. It would also be a Darian in the lead of Class D as well. Rhys Wynne-Davies and Ben Ruff taking that position. They only had a 25-second advantage, though, in that position. Will Owen and Chloe Louise Thomas chasing them down for that class lead. And in Class F, it will be Robert Barnett and Andrew Napier who take a good, solid advantage going into the second half of the rally in that Citroën. Olivia Hopperton and Sarah Hughes behind them, second place in the class. This weekend's rally would also be a part of the Junior 1000 Championship for young drivers. And it would be first place for Oliver Waggett and Callum Young, who take a small lead in that fight. For Rhys Jones and Harry Stubbs, though, it would be a hard-fought second place at this stage. The time's close as well. Only 3 seconds between them and the leaders after 3 stages today. And rounding out the junior podium positions would be Jack Birch and Mike Jode in the older Nissan Micra, a further 9 seconds back. Into the afternoon stages then, and we start with the Junior Championship, and there'd be some change for the championship podium as well. In third place at the end of the rally would be Charlie Mathewson and Ian Bass in the Peugeot 107. Jack Birch and Mike Jode managed to get themselves clawed back up the leaderboard a little, ending the rally second place, 12 seconds off the lead by the end of the day. But that means that Oliver Waggett and Callum Young were able to hold on to that lead and take the juniors' victory here at Anglesey Circuit to spray that non-alcoholic champagne. The details are important. Back to the senior event then here at Anglesey, and a look at how the classes changed through the afternoon. Plenty of change to tell you about as well. For Olivia Hopperton and Sarah Hughes, things would remain pretty much the same in Class F. They take second place. That, of course, meaning that it's the class victory for Robert Barnett and Andrew Napier after holding on to that lead throughout the event. In Class D, there'd be some change as Berwyn Evans and Mary Half Evans move into the second place spot in class after we lose our Darien pair from the class lead. That also promoting Will Owen and Chloe Louise Thomas into the lead of the class to take victory here this weekend. Class C would remain pretty unchanged through the afternoon, with Gareth Hughes and Ivan Devine taking that second place in the class, leaving the class win to the Darien pair of Jason and Lee Wilson, who were pushing from the start and finishing 8th on the overall leaderboard as well. Class B would see some change as we lose our previous leaders. Kevin Davies and Sean Rowland is now taking second place in the class by the end of the rally. That left Louis Baines and Chris Coombs to gain on the leaderboard and take the Class B victory in the Peugeot 106. Change as well in Class A in second place. Adam Durston Hillier and Chris Davies taking that position in the second half of the event. No change though to the lead. Some good times on the board throughout the event with plenty of consistency in these conditions. It would be Owen Hughes and Chris Phillips holding on to that class lead to take the win. Back to the overall results though, and we do see a change in those as well. Darryl Taylor and Steve McNulty taking the position of Hankin and holding out for that 5th place finish this weekend. Apart from that, things had looked set from earlier in the rally. Ollie O'Donovan and Ashley Morris keep hold of their 4th place to the finish, just 5 seconds off the podium position. And with those morning's issues behind them, it would be a much better run to the finish for John Griffiths and Emma Morrison. They keep things neat and tidy, getting to the end of the rally with a podium position under their belts and some good championship points along with it. It would be a great run for Michael Igo and Will Atkins, still getting used to the Fiesta Rally 2, swapping that from his Lamborghini GT car of recent times. They might not have been in the lead of the event by the end of the day, but it would be maximum championship points for the pair, and those would certainly be welcomed. So that all, of course, means it's Rob Hughes and Sean Cunniff taking victory. A stunning drive from start to finish. They weren't part of the championship this weekend, but victory was a welcome end to a grueling day in these conditions on Anglesey. Here's a quick reminder then of how those overall results shaped up here at the Lee Holland Stages 2023. It's no secret that the UK faced some tough weather conditions, and that's putting it mildly, in the lead up to the Malcolm Wilson Rally, causing the event organisers to have to take drastic action. But luckily for us and for rallying, that drastic action didn't mean cancelling the event. Fans were also in for a treat, as M Sport was not only fielding a campaign in the British Rally Championship, but they also had the first, and possibly, I hope not, but the only so far UK event appearance of the Puma Rally 1 car, as seen in the World Rally Championship and driven this weekend by Jordan Serderidis with Greg Rahm Munster alongside. Great to see and hear the pair out on the stages in that state-of-the-art World Rally Championship machinery. It may have been cold, a far cry from what would face the crews going to the WRC round in Mexico after this rally, but that wasn't going to stop Adrian Formeau and Alex Correa from a great start to the rally with a lead of 28 seconds by the end of the Grisdale tests. Previous winners here, they would surely be one of the favourites. There'd be no discounting of victory, of course, from former BRC champion, in fact multiple champion Keith Cronin, Mikey Galvin alongside. Capable of victory surely today, they do, sadly for them, catch a car in the first Grisdale stage, slowing their progress frustratingly, putting them down in second place. Third at this stage would be young stars Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn. They were in the position for taking part in the British Rally Championship and the MRF Tyres BTRD8 Rally Series, where Elliot would be defending his title as the youngest ever winner of the Gold Star. So they were unable to do a recce of the stages. You would have expected it to cause them an issue, but they were going well this weekend. The event this weekend would actually be split into the national and inter-club category, but with our competitors doing the same stages with the change around, we thought we'd combine the results, and fourth fastest at this stage would be Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere, leading the inter-club cruise, but second to Payne in the BTRDA fight for now. Callum Black and Jack Morton bring the Rally 2 car out again after campaigning it towards the end of last season with good effect. This year, looking at attacking the BRC. They couldn't seem to get into the groove right away, but they do settle into a solid 5th place. Gary Pearson and Hannah McKillop were finding it hard to commit in this opening stage. Still a lot of icy sections around. A stall on the start of one of the Grisdale stages wasn't helping matters as they end the morning with 6th. And a puncture would be the early downfall of a very frustrated James Williams and Di Roberts at the start of their new campaign in that Fiesta Rally 2. They'd been fastest overall through stage 1, which was a fantastic start, but that puncture would knock them into a fight back for 7th place. Rory Young and Alan Carthers would be the next of our inter-club crews. On the results, they settle into an 8th place overall end to the morning stages. And just behind them, 0.9 of a second behind to be exact, would be a hard-charging Aaron Newby, with Jamie Edwards alongside Aaron out this year for a go at the BTRDA, and things were starting well for the Skoda crew. Rounding out the top 10 then at this stage was Ian Bainbridge, Will Atkins alongside a new car this season as they switched to the Fiesta, having campaigned the Skoda so far. The first of our two-wheel drive crews here in a very icy Lake District will be Stuart Eggleston and Brian Hodgson. They lead the way with a 2.9 second advantage in the category. Second place would be a very committed Ben Friend. Cliffy Simmons alongside. This would be enough to take the BTRDA Silver Star lead. Not that they would settle for just that. They were after the overall two-wheel drive victory, if they could. And third place would be our reigning Silver Star champions, Rob Wright and Mark Fisher, back again to defend that title for 2023. And you have to say, it's looking good so far. The 1400 category will be led at this stage by Nigel and Kaz Jenkins in the Nova. The pair, like many, had struggled to get to the event with the weather. A grueling journey up to the Lake District, but it was paying off now they were here, and they're always exciting to watch. And another pair who never disappoint out on those stages, a very flamboyant and indeed a flying Lewis Hooper and Rhys Edwards, who lead the way in Rally First, clearly pushing that Micra to the top of not just the Rally First leaderboard, but also challenging for some pretty giant killing results today, as they usually do. After a tricky start to the day's stages then, things had started to dry up a little, and some of the ice had gone by the afternoon stages indeed. No change for Lewis Hooper and Rhys Edwards. They were fast from the start. They were now guiding their Micra to a Rally First victory on the opening round of the championship. A similar story for Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. They were not looking forward to the journey home, but they were enjoying the moment as they dominate the 1400 overall leaderboard, putting that Nova on the top step of the points table this weekend. No change in the two-wheel drive category for Rob Wright and Mark Fisher. They hold on to that third place, which was enough for second place championship points this weekend as the second registered crew home. There was, though, change at the very top. Stuart Eggleston and Brian Hodgson dropping back very slightly into second place. The times were still close, though, with just a few seconds between them and the lead. And in that lead now, in fact, converting it to a victory and taking with it maximum BTRDA Silver Star points will be Ben Friend and Cliffy Simmons. It hadn't been a completely trouble-free day for our former British historic rally champions. A few little overshoots to worry about, but they do what they need to do for that class victory. Let's switch back to the top 10 overall leaderboard then, and it will be a 10th place finish for Russ Thompson and Steve Link. Flamboyant and exciting as ever. The times saw them 4th place in the interclub standings, as well as winning the B13 class for the BTRDA. For Rory Young and Alan Cathers, it will be 9th in the overall results. They end the day 3rd in the interclub results as well, although not out here chasing for a championship on the Malcolm Wilson Rally. There's only one way to describe weekends like this. It had been character building for Gary Pearson and Hannah McKillop. But they do finally get a couple of clean runs through the final Greystoke stages, showing us what they can do when things go well, ending the event with 8th. A similar story as well for Callum Black and Jack Morton. They were trying out some new tyres this weekend, so they took some time to get up to speed, ending the event with 7th place. It had been all eyes on the battle between Aaron Newby and Matthew Hurst. These guys swapping times stage by stage, turning into a pretty close battle. But for Hurst, with Declan Deere alongside, it would be 6th place overall, the times giving them 3rd place in the BTRDA standings. That does mean that Aaron Newby and Jamie Edwards would just beat them to that position. The difference, 0.4 of a second by the end of the rally, is about as close as you can get. They take the interclub victory as well with that result. 2nd place in the BTRDA points and setting up a thrilling fight at the next round. Never mind fights, it was fight backs we'd see from James Williams and Di Roberts. They were able to claw their way back to 4th place. Not exactly where they wanted to finish or what they came here to do, but it was damage limitation at its very best, and probably the best they could have hoped for, given those circumstances in the morning not of their making. Onto the podium positions then, hard fought as they were. It would be 3rd place for Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn. No change for the pair as they managed to hold on to that position, taking maximum points in their defence of that BTRDA Gold Star title for 2023. There was no way for Keith Cronin and Mikey Galvin to catch up to that lead again after their hold-up on stage 2. With power steering issues now appearing on the Polo, it would hamper progress even more, and they'd have to settle for 2nd place this weekend. Bitter disappointment for them, and they'd love to have been in that fight, but at least the points are on that board. So of course that means it's victory for the Works driver Adrian Formeau, Alex Corrier alongside, adding another Malcolm Wilson rally victory to the tally, and an opening round victory in their 2023 BRC campaign too. A rally that will surely live long in the memory and the history of this fantastic and historic event. Here's a reminder of how those overall results shaped up here on the Malcolm Wilson Rally. The Dukeries Rally would be the next instalment of the Circuit Rally Championship, and once again had a mix of Circuit Championship contenders and those just looking for a good result and a good day on the stages. One of those being early rally leaders and previous champions Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman. This season, just picking selected events so far to get back into things after a couple of bad events in 2022. They lead the way by 8 seconds for now. John Griffiths and Emma Morrison would start the day well, even with some small issues to contend with. They do get to the end of the morning with 2nd place, and were doing enough for the championship as well with that start. 2nd place last time out and getting a hang of this rally thing. Michael Igoe and Will Atkins were back out. Michael, of course, knows Donington well from his British GT days, very recently in a Lamborghini. They make a good start to end the morning with 3rd place overall, just 8 seconds back from Griffiths. The fight surely was on. The gap back to Tony Robinson and Mark Witherspoon was a little bigger, but the pair was still going well and pushing as they end the morning with 4th place in the Skoda. And once again, it would be a customary sideways all the way style for Ollie O'Donovan and Ashley Morris. They end the first 3 stages of the rally in 5th place overall in that Hyundai. A look at the classes then, and it would be the lead in Class 1 for the Nova pair of Anthony Newton and Suze Endine, with a small 5-second lead over the similar car of Andrew Egger and Adam Brown. In Class 2, it was that fantastic Peugeot 106 Maxi of Ben and Andrew Wilkinson leading the way in the class. The pair opening up almost a 30-second advantage over the Corsa kit car of Chris Rook and Steve Harris. And make no mistake, they were pushing as well. Steve Dolman and John Shepherd were pushing that Mazda MX-5 hard as they lead the way in Class 3 as a result, but they'd have to watch their mirrors. They only had 8 seconds of a lead over Nigel Greensoul and Graham Wild in that Toyota GT86, which, believe it or not, is box standard, just safety gear over and above the standard manufacturer spec. That's good going. Class 4 would have a 30-second buffer between our leaders Stephen Sawley and Rob Johnson in the Escort, and Alistair Stables and Neil Jones in that glorious Chevette. Still time for a battle through the afternoon stages, lads. And in Class 5, it would be Battle of the Imprezas. Lee and Cole Hastings taking the early lead with a 19-second advantage over Joe McCand and Charlotte McDowell in their Impreza. Onto the afternoon stages then. Ideal conditions for rallying here at Donington Park. Everyone enjoying themselves out on those stages. That Class 5 battle wouldn't change. We'd see Joe McCand and Charlotte McDowell ending the rally with second place in the class, while Lee and Cole Hastings keep hold of the class lead to take victory. No change in Class 4 either. Alistair Stables and Neil Jones unable to close the gap, finishing second to Stephen Sawley and Rob Johnson taking class victory. In Class 3, it will be Nigel Greensoul and Graham Wild keeping hold of their second place in the class. No change at the top either. Steve Dolman and John Shepherd in the MX-5 putting in some good times to take the victory. In fact, we get to Class 2 before we see our real shake-up in the results by the end of the day. Joseph Duffy and Aaron Brimble come ending the event with second in the class after Chris Rook slipped down to third. But the top of the class wouldn't change. Ben and Andrew Wilkinson had made their bed and they were lying in it. It was class victory, and by a pretty big margin in that 106 maxi. A similar story as well in Class 1. We see Toby and Mark Burton taking second place, with the class leaders Anthony Newton and Suze Ending keeping hold of that position for the victory in the Nova. After a thrilling battle in the first half of the day, we do frustratingly lose John Griffiths and Emma Morrison from our overall results. Luckily for them, they do enough to be crowned champions at this round, even with that non-finish. That change meaning that Kyron Hankin and James Swallow end the event with 5th place overall. Another great result for the Peugeot 208 pair. No change for Tony Robinson and Mark Witherspoon, but they won't be complaining. They keep a consistent pace to take 4th place this weekend after holding on to that position and managing the gap from the early part of the day. Ollie O'Donovan and Ashley Morris, meanwhile, gain some time on the leaderboard as they move up to take the final step on the podium this weekend in the Hyundai. There's more frustration on the leaderboard for Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman. They hit a chicane in one of the stages, gaining a time penalty that put them out of contention for the lead of the rally. They'd have to settle for 2nd place this weekend. But that does mean with a clean and tidy run and some good, strong times overall on the board, it will be victory for the Fiesta Rally 2 pairing of Michael Igoe and Will Atkins. More points towards the championship, and although the winner had been decided, there were still positions to fight for throughout the leaderboard. So the North Side Truck and Van Dukeries Rally is complete, and here's a reminder of those final overall results here at Donington Park. Rally North Wales this year is a round of the Pirelli Welsh Rally Championship and the Historic Championship, among others. And first on the road would be the two-wheel drive competitors, with Roger Chilman and Patrick Walsh back on the stages and taking an early lead in the historic category of the event. The difference at the top of the leaderboard was slight though, just 5 seconds. Joe Price and Chris Brooks hard charging and taking that 2nd spot for now on their return to the stages this season, but they did anything but intend to stay there. Robert Goff and Pro Tyre Asphalt Rally Championship coordinator Paul Morris were putting in some good times, the conditions not seeming to faze them at all as they end the morning with 3rd place, and don't underestimate these conditions. 16 seconds back from Price was good going. With the Escort dominance at the top of the leaderboard, it was great to see Nick Elliott and Dave Price back out campaigning that Fiat again this season. They end the morning 4th place, just 6 seconds back from Goff. And adding yet further variety to the mix of machinery at the top of the leaderboard will be Seb Perez and Gary McElhaney, the pair out in the Porsche, and great to see something else pushing for good times at the top of the results as well. In the overall and Welsh Championship section of the event, it will be an early lead for Matthew Hurst and Declan Deer. It was a good one as well, over a minute's advantage in the morning stages. They couldn't relax, but it would certainly make the afternoon a little easier. Second place at this stage will be Alan Carmichael and Claire Williams. The pair not quite able to catch our leaders, but themselves having a good advantage to nurse in that second place. And rounding out the podium positions for now will be Kevin Proctor and Jamie Edwards, the Fiesta pair bringing the S2000 turbo car out for a run in the forests and going well at this stage. Just behind them on the order will be Martin Andrews and Steve Greenhill. Only 4 seconds between them at this stage, so there will be a big push to keep our eyes on later in the day. And leading the way in the modern spec two-wheel drive crews will be Boyd Kershaw and Keegan Rees. They end the morning 5th place overall, as well as taking that class lead so far. Rally North Wales would see the Mini Challenge crews out once again. This championship offering a budget option and close competition. They only do the first half of the rally, so taking 3rd place overall in that challenge this weekend will be Guy and Florence Butler. They finished 33 seconds behind the 2nd place car of Jacob Neal and Russell Thompson. A good run for them sees them taking 2nd place overall as well as that class win. But taking the Mini Challenge victory this weekend will be Mick Smith and Paul Stringer, pushing the car to its limits in places in these tough conditions and putting in some great times to take a very well-deserved and hard-fought victory. On to the afternoon stages then, and this weekend would see SeaconUK's very own Tony Simpson and Glyn Thomas back out in that Fiesta. They have a great run as well to take a class victory and a 14th overall finish here on Rally North Wales. Those podium positions wouldn't change either. Kevin Proctor and Jamie Edwards managing to hold on to that 3rd place to the finish, despite a few moments along the way. Not bad for someone who is a bit more of a tarmac specialist these days. For Alan Carmichael and Claire Williams, it would be 2nd. The gap to the leaders had opened up a little more, but they did enough to take that 2nd place, and it was convincing in the Hyundai. But taking victory this weekend will be Matthew Hurst and Declan Deer, opening up their Pirelli Welsh Championship title defence campaign in style with a 2-minute advantage in that top spot. Disappointingly for us and them, we'd lose Seb Perez and Gary McElhaney from the historic results in the afternoon. They retire in the Porsche. It had been going well up to that point as well. The afternoon stages then would see Robert Goff and Paul Morris slip down the order a little as well, but 5th place was still a strong end to the rally for the pair. Through these afternoon stages though, we see Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark on the move and into 4th place. Nick Elliott and Dave Price, meanwhile, guiding the Fiat around the stages with some strong times to end the afternoon with 3rd place in the historics here in Wales. Some notable change at the top as well, with this morning's rally leaders Roger Chilman and Patrick Walsh having to settle for 2nd place in a close battle that sees them missing out on victory by just 3 seconds to Joe Price and Chris Brooks. An exciting and pretty gruelling Rally North Wales then complete. Here's a reminder of those overall and historic category results as the cars finish the event in a picturesque Welsh pool.
Well, thanks to the hard work, the determination and frankly the passion for the sport that we all share, we got some action in Cumbria on the Malcolm Wilson Rally. Finally, a tribute from us here at Special Stage to the organisers for being so creative in ensuring that we did get to go rallying in the Lake District for the first round of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship. What a month of rally action it has been. We've got another bumper month coming up on Special Stage with more live coverage and of course another SeaconUK rally show, this time next month with more highlights from events around the UK. We'll see you then. For now, thank you for watching.